50% of that and put it in an account that's getting me some type of return on my investment, right? I'm not sitting it in a savings account and they're charging me fees for it because I don't know how to manage my damn money. No, I'm sitting it in a vehicle that's gonna get me conservatively, because that's how people are doing it in the stock market, real estate, whatever that is, 15% over time, right? If you're in it for the long haul, we gotta have those real conversations, and then people have to be able to say, okay, you know, the youngsters are gonna fight, you know, for a minute, like Benzino said, like they don't wanna listen. So it's information, right? Just knowing. We just don't know. You know, we don't sit down at the table, right? That 25% tax is done. That 25% retirement, you know, done, right? It's accumulating money. You know, when they say compound interest is a reality, we don't learn that, you know, at the breakfast or the dinner table, right? And then budget, the last 50%, how can you live off of that? You know, vacation, make sure the bills are paid, all of the above, right? You're gonna get the bucking against that system with the youngsters, of course. I don't wanna do what you're telling me to do, mom or dad, right? But ultimately, if you give it to them enough and they're able to see the blueprint, then we can begin to really change it. And then when we circulate our dollars, man, we are the only culture, right? Being black, that, you know, when we get our money, it flies out of our hands. Like, we don't go to the corner store that's owned by us, you know, we don't buy our shit from the clothes maker that's owned by us. Like, we don't use the construction person that's going on the roof and changing shit, you know, that's us. Like, we don't put our money in the black bank that's reaping the benefits of us, right? You know, when you look at the Jewish community, it's probably shit, at least 10, 12 times. You know, you look at the Asian community, it might be 20 times it circulates before it goes outside. You know, when we get it, it's in one hand and it's out the other, you know, and I think methodically with having these kinds of conversations repetitively, it's gonna continue to change itself.
You know, just speaking on this whole ownership thing, I know for you, Ron, with New Edition, you know, trademark was an issue at one time. Is it settled? I mean, who owns it?
Settled, yeah, that's all 6 of us. Like, we had, that was a part of the 5 years. That's a part of the journey of New Edition. Like the ebbs and flows of a power struggle, right? Like, we're all trying to figure this thing out at the same time, right? And we've all had individual success outside of the group, so everyone has their perception of how to get shit done, right? And yeah, there was, at one point, our name was unprotected, right? And attorney maybe passed the information to Johnny, you know, Johnny at some point locked it down, you know, passed the information to Ralph, put Ralph on it, and it sat for a minute, right? And Mike was one of the ones, man, I thank God for Mike, because he's one of those ones that kind of seek information, and when it comes to the penny, when it comes to the dollar, when it comes to just paying attention, he's got the point guard mentality, like the floor general. I'm seeing the forward, I'm seeing the center, I'm seeing shit before it happens. You know, he brought it to our attention, and it just took some time for it to get back in the place that it deserved to be, you know, with all 7 of us. And that was a struggle for a hot second. You know, might not have been, you know, any malice, you know, but at the end of the day, you would hope that your brother would just say, yo, you know, give everyone the call, like, yo, our shit is unprotected. Let's put this over here, right? It didn't happen that way, but we're there now, which is a beautiful thing. And that's the stuff that we gotta figure out how to navigate, like with so many other pressures put on top of us, right? From healthcare to trying to, you know, pay for your child's education, which is fucking astronomically expensive. Like, all of these other things you gotta deal with. You still gotta look at your brothers and figure out if somebody's trying to get over on you or not, you know? It's like, damn, you know?
Unfortunate
That's heavy.
side.
I think it's interesting that it was Johnny that initially set out, even though he came into the group a lot later.
Benzino, I want to ask you, for up-and-coming artists going independent, what advice would you give them about owning the culture, and do they have a say when they're an independent artist, more so?
You know, independence is everything. I mean, you know, the word independence is everything, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to life, money, creativity. I mean, independence means it's yours, and you're responsible for it, and you guide it. And the gift of the internet is that it allows you to have independence and get it out to the people. You know, as far as artists goes, owning your masters and owning your publishing is the #1 thing that you could ever do. If there's ever a time where you have to sell a piece of it, you know, make sure it's a piece of it and not all of it, and that you have the right guidance from somebody that guides you in a way that if you do want to sell a piece of it, that you know what you're retaining. You know, when it comes to music, people just got to understand streaming. You know, that streaming situation is, I mean, it takes almost like 3 streams to make 1 penny. You know, people don't realize that. I think the misconceptions of streaming is it's big. You
Do
know?
new artists have the say to say no? Because I would think that that would be a scary thing when you first start off. Like, can I even say no to giving up to retaining?
Well,
some
I
of
mean,
my publishing?
it all depends on the situation you're in. You know, if you know, again, music doesn't necessarily always have to be the one all. You know, with me, I've always had different hustles, and music was just one of them. And you know, so but if you have it, if you have to sell a piece of it, right? Just make sure it's a piece. You don't got to sell your whole pie and then you have nothing else to eat. You know, you can sell a piece. You know, there's nothing the matter with that if you need money right now to take care of yourself and your family. But you just want to be careful and how much that piece is and what that piece is worth. The great thing about music is that, man, you get a hit, and he has a lot of them. They last forever. So publishing checks come, and they're paying your kids. They're paying, like I said, when I was at the ASCAP Awards, these was old white men, looked like they was in their 70s and 80s, going up there getting these, you know, and I know they didn't make these songs. They didn't have no R&B in them, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, publishing is an investment too. So with me, the couple of little hits I had, I do own 100% of my publishing. I never really did a publishing deal. So, you know, before my mother passed, all those checks was going to her. I was like, look, Mom, this is how I can help you. And those checks would go to her, and, you know, I'm doing other things to get money, but I was just so happy to get a check 4 times a year that could just go to my mother and help her, you know what I'm saying? But I was, you know, but the artists nowadays publishing, and again, these artists are so young, you know, I mean, music now is just like, and the internet has made it to where is that these artists are 20 years old making millions of dollars, and they don't have too much guidance.
Well, we appreciate you both sharing your wealth of information with literally decades of experience, hands-on in the trenches, building the culture, contributing to the culture. You know, so much information has been shared today.
Man, Benzino, the Harvard of the streets. Thank you for all of that, Ron. Appreciate you, brothers, for, you know, just coming by and really, you know, pouring into the culture, pouring into us. All right, we have the knowledge and the power to regain and keep the culture that we've built, and we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank y'all.